Okay, what's up, people? So today I have a little comparison here for you. For people who are on a budget and they're trying to figure out what card should I get in order to kind of hold me over but sustain my minimal budget. Well, I have two here that I really like: the 3060 Ti, a little bit small, and the 2080 Ti. Now, the 2080 Ti is my favorite, and it takes over in benchmarks a little bit, but we're going to take a little bit of a look at both of them, see how they look, see what we feel about the internals, and then I'll tell you all the benchmarks that I got and tell you which one I think you should get. Stay tuned. Okay, here we are. Two of the most popular cards to ever be released, the 2080 Ti and the 3060 Ti. Now, popularity, of course, is subjective. However, I think they were rather popular when they were released. Not saying that they maintained popularity, but now in this day and age, what we're looking for is something that's budget friendly, budget conscious. It's going to get you somewhere, and both of these cards can do that. Now, I will say right off the bat, because I don't want to waste your time, you know what I do. I'm all no fluff and no wasting time. The 2080 Ti would be the way for me to go if you're not looking for ray tracing performance entirely, specifically, and if you're getting a 3060 Ti or a budget card, you can't really compensate for ray tracing performance as it is. However, I would say the 2080 Ti from sheer raw power is the way to go. It squeezes out ahead in frames ever so slightly from various benchmarks. I'll put a couple up and I'll link to some in the description. However, this card right here, I mean, it really does work. Now, the 3060 Ti is fantastic as well, and you will get moderate ray tracing performance, and by moderate, I mean barely playable, maybe 30 frames per second at that, depending on the game, if you adjust the other settings in the game accordingly. But it's not really that kind of card. The 3060 Ti is a very good card to pull decent frames from anything at 1080p. 1440p, you're asking a bit much, but you can do some things. 4K, don't even think about it, stay away from it. But the 1080p performance on this card is phenomenal. Just taking a look at the card really quick, I mean, now you have the dual fan versions that are pretty small. The heatsink in this one, the ASUS and the cooling, all the thermals in here are pretty nice. They're pretty interesting. One of the major selling points for this card in particular is that you only need that one connector. It's not drawing a tremendous amount of power. Now, does that hinder the performance of the card? Well, depending on your system and depending on what you're using it for, but it is still a pretty good card to use, and it's pretty small, so it's convenient that it can fit in a multitude of different size chassis, ATX, micro ATX, mid ATX. So there are multiple use case scenarios for this card, and it is quite powerful on its own, albeit not as powerful as the big boy here, which is the 2080 Ti. Let's take a look at this one. This happens to be the EVGA 2080 Ti, and this one is a beast of a card. Now, I was using this card actually for a bit. I did really appreciate the performance, and it's really good to use with DLSS 1.0, and that's the caveat that you're gonna have to worry about if you're being budget conscious. You're gonna be getting DLSS 1 support. Now, AMD FSR 3, AMD's new release of FSR, does support the 20 series of Nvidia graphics cards. However, FSR is not released on many games yet. It's not baked in or implemented, so you're gonna have to wait, but it may be worth the wait because what we're seeing from the performance stats, according to the limited amount of benchmarks that have been done with Forsaken and Avalon, is that on the 2080 Ti, FSR 3 performs outrageously good. Like, I'm talking 60 frames to 130 frames good, and it looks fantastic. So they still have time to optimize and get better and catch up, but at least they do cross support with Nvidia cards. So I think that's something to think about. Now, you know what's interesting about this card is it does have USB-C output, but then it has DisplayPort, HDMI. Now, I mean, like I said, use case scenario, you're gonna hook this up to your DisplayPort and DisplayPort to your monitor to get the absolute best performance you possibly can. I'm not here to sell you on the card. I'm just here to show you the basics so that you guys can make a decision without having to go through 3 hours of someone talking about it. This is probably the way to go beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I'm telling you from usage, not from just, hey, these are the benchmarks and here's what people say. From using it, I've used this and I've used this, both in powerful machines, and I would go with the 2080 Ti, hands down, for performance. Now, here's where we talk about pricing. All right, everyone, now we're back to the hard part. The hard part is figuring out how you're gonna find these cards for a certain price. Well, you want to look around the $300 range. You don't really want to pay more than $350. You're paying $400, you're kind of getting screwed. You're getting into new card territory there. So you want to see between $200, $350. How do you find these? Well, Facebook Marketplace is one of the greatest places to find them. Newegg constantly has sales, and they're having Black Friday sales right now. So I would take a look at Newegg. I would take a look at any secondhand manufacturer. I don't really trust refurbished cards, but if you like refurb cards, Amazon is a great place to go, and Best Buy. Best Buy doesn't really carry too much of the older generation, but they do carry the 3060 Ti if you want to find that there. 2080 Ti is going to be a bit more tricky to find, but if you find it, it would be the better card to pick up. And that is basically it. So don't pay over $350. Try not to get the $300 at all. If you have to stick in the $300, that's what you do. And if that's your budget, the 2080 Ti is going to be far superior to anything you can possibly grab at the $300 range for that price. If you can get it for $250, it's even better. If you can't, 3060 Ti on sale is the way to go. Ray tracing, you're balancing some things out. Raw power versus ray tracing versus DLSS 2.0 versus DLSS 1.0. I mean, it depends on your use case. If you're trying to play games in 4K, you're out of your league. But if you must try and get your 25 frames per second, then yeah, absolutely go with the DLSS 2 card to try and get you a little bit closer to there. But if you're going to be realistic about life and you want to play games a good amount of frames per second without sacrificing too much quality, you're gonna go with the 2080 Ti. Okay, that's just how I feel about this, and that's from experience. Let me know how you feel. I could be wrong. This has been Chad. Like, subscribe, comment, argue with me if you want. Let's go. I'm always down for an argument in the comments, and I'll see you later.